Hi, my name is Linda. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm sorry I haven't posted in a while. I've been super busy with my internship and traveling, but I hope y'all are ready for this one because I'm telling you, I will be spilling all the tea on UBC today. And not just all the tea, all the spicy tea, the stuff that you really want to know but nobody else will tell you about. So let's get started. Shout out to Marissa, by the way, for getting me this super cute mug as a housewarming gift. I love it. Today I will be drinking a coconut oolong tea. Also, just to give you guys some context, I'm a senior student at the UBC Sauder School of Business, studying marketing and accounting, and I'm a president of a club and in a sorority. So this is where all of my perspectives and opinions come from, and also from my friends. So take this with a grain of salt. Just remember that everybody's opinions and perspectives will be different, and you never really know until you make your own experiences. But hopefully whatever I say is still somewhat helpful and gives you a bit of idea of what UBC is like. So let's start with the first section, which is academics, because that's what we're all here for, right? I'm just kidding, but obviously academics is important, so let's start with this. The first thing is that college is really hard and people at UBC are really smart. When you first get here, you'll probably feel kind of dumb. Imposter syndrome is a real thing and I felt it. I know a lot of people who also felt it. But at the end of the day, just remember that you got in here for a reason and that you belong here. So don't let it get you down and just focus on yourself. And because college is really hard, you'll probably also fail at least one assignment, one test, or one class. If you do, just move on from it. It's really not that big of a deal. My worst test was a 33% and I still managed to pass the class. So just remember that one grade, one test, or one class doesn't define you. And even on the larger scale, your grades really don't matter that much unless you're looking at a postgraduate program. So try not to fixate on them too much. Just remember that C's still get degrees. However, if you are struggling, please remember to utilize your resources. Maybe this is a faculty dependent thing, but I've actually noticed that most profs at Sauder are really willing to help and they're not working against you. So every time I needed help, I did have good enough luck with my profs and they were able to help me. So utilize your resources of not only your professors, but also your TAs, older students, or possibly even friends or people in your class, because most people are really willing to help. This also brings me to the next part, which is at UBC, you really should learn how to work smarter, not harder. I feel like for grades, there's the idea of diminishing returns, which is that once you study past a certain amount, the more you study, the less value you actually get out of it. So my best tip is honestly to study with friends and work together to make a cheat sheet, study sheet, and I think that that's actually the best way to do it. But obviously set your own standards and try to achieve your own standard. Even though I'm telling you to work smarter and not harder, it still is really important to put in effort because university is important and you will be rewarded when you put in effort. Next one, which I really hope UBC doesn't come after me because I'm just trying to help people out here and be super honest, is about academic advisors. So academic advisors are people who are supposed to help you plan your timetable, help you with graduation and get the classes. But unfortunately, most of them are not super helpful. And a lot of my friends, including me, are actually really scared to talk to academic advisors because most of the time they literally can't give you what you're looking for. My best tip here is to keep trying to get the class you need all the way up until the add-drop deadline, and if you can't, try talking to the advisors again at the add-drop deadline and you might have better luck. Some advisors are better than others at helping you, but really it's dependent on your faculty, who you talk to, who you are, your situation, and there's a whole bunch of factors, but just rely on yourself where possible because honestly, most of the time they aren't super helpful. The next part is about your social life and campus life. So I started school in 2020, which was the COVID year. So my opinion and perspectives will probably be very different than people who are starting now or people who started before me. Even though it was COVID, like I still had a really good time. So I believe some of my tips could still definitely be helpful. Campus is pretty big and pretty scary, but if you put in effort, it is still pretty easy to make friends because people are pretty open most times, and when you're in university, most people are looking to meet new people and find their own friend group. I found most of my friends through first year res, but also through clubs and my sorority, so try to take advantage of all the student groups that are on campus, whether it's a group of people that you share similar interests with, or it's like an activity that you're super interested in. For this section, you really also should be kind to people and be open to making friends, because sometimes even if you don't think you'll be friends with somebody, you never really know until you talk to them, and most people are pretty nervous to talk to people, so if you take the first step to talk to them, I'm sure they'll be super appreciative. Because university students are always pretty busy, you'll likely also have to spend a lot of time on your own. So some tea here is that you really should learn how to romanticize your life because you will feel a bit lonely sometimes. Spending time on your own is honestly a good thing too, because when you're in university, you learn a lot about yourself, and by spending time on your own, you can really reflect on yourself and what you want to achieve. The next thing I want to touch on is FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. I felt this a lot, especially during COVID. I was super envious of the year before me, or even people who were on campus before me, since I only stayed on res for 1 semester. And honestly, just remember that things always seem better on social media. You're really not missing out on that much. And it's really important to really pick and choose the events and the people that you really want to talk to, instead of overspreading yourself too thin. The next little piece of advice on campus is that you really should take advantage of all the fees you're paying for, especially if it comes to insurance. I was somebody that never had insurance growing up, so whenever I had medical insurance, I splurged and literally got new glasses, new contacts, anything that I could get. And same with the UPass. It's a really good transit subsidy, so take it, use your transit pass, and save some money on transit. The next section is about partying and hookup culture, which all you filthy animals have probably been waiting for. I'm just kidding. I honestly would have loved to know too before I came to UBC. So I am pretty big on partying and I love to party, but I didn't participate too much in hookup culture, so I can't say too much about that. However, I still will speak on my experiences. UBC is a pretty big party school, so if you want to party, here's your chance. Have fun. You can go to a lot of different parties. During the first week, there are a lot of parties at the frats just because they're trying to recruit people. So that's a good way, especially if you're in your first year and considering Greek life. There's also a bunch of house parties, dorm parties, and you can also go to parties hosted by the Calendar, which is essentially an organization on campus that literally just throws parties. So you definitely can go to parties. However, also never feel pressured to party. Partying is really not for everybody, and definitely don't overdo it. It's not fun to show up to class hungover, and I've been there before. Just remember to prioritize whatever you want, and if partying is not a priority, then don't feel pressured to go. If you do go though, please stay safe, watch your drinks. UBC is overall pretty safe, but there have been a couple of incidences, so just make sure that you always watch your back, watch your own drinks, and never go alone. Also know your limits and don't feel pressured to try anything above your limits. Drugs are pretty common here, and if you're not comfortable with doing drugs, please don't do them. With partying always seems a little bit better in your head than what it is in real life, so that's also why you really shouldn't feel pressured. I've never really had anything super interesting happen to me at a party, so I'm telling you right now, you're really not missing that much. The next part I'll talk about is hookup culture. So hookup culture at UBC is pretty big. I think it's probably easier to hook up with people than to find a boyfriend. So if you want a boyfriend, maybe not the best timing. Not saying it's impossible, but most people I know did have a hard time finding a relationship over just casual hookups. If you are planning on hooking up, keep your expectations low. Honestly, it sucks the majority of the time. I've talked to people in my sorority and people who don't really participate in hookup culture and people who do a lot, and most of them say it's really not that great. So keep your expectations low. Something I didn't really know until I came here is that for some reason unprotected sex is also the norm. I don't know why we don't want to use protection. I don't know if it's like a UBC thing, a Canada thing, a Vancouver thing, but STIs are common. So just remember to get tested and stay protected. Birth control is free in all of BC, so you literally have no excuse. You can get tested and get birth control all on campus. So you're literally just being lazy if you're not working to keep yourself and your community safe. If you do want to hook up, just be prepared for every single possible outcome or consequence, whether that is you get an STI, whether that means you fall in love with the person, you end up dating the person, you regret it, it's awkward the next time you see them, whatever the consequences, just be prepared for it if you are going to be participating in hookup culture. But also, honestly, if hookup culture is not your thing, please don't feel pressured. You're only going to regret it in the long run. If you like somebody but they just want to hook up, they'll probably be pretty straightforward and tell you from the start they're just looking to hook up. And if that's not your thing, just walk away. It's not worth it. That's really all I had to say for spilling the tea. If you guys want more answers to your questions or want more brutally honest tea, feel free to DM me. I'm going to link my Instagram above. Something else too is you can literally try searching for what you want to know on Reddit. UBC Reddit is pretty active. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in there, so chances are you'll probably find answers to your questions. Even if you don't, try posting something and people will definitely respond. Anyways, like I said, please take this with a grain of salt, but I hope you guys still found this video interesting and learned a little bit about UBC. If you're coming to UBC soon, good luck on the following year, or if you're looking to apply here, good luck with your applications.